It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood from coast to coast and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me today is Laura Day, who is here to help us learn how to hone into our gut instinct in order to make more money, better decisions, and to improve our relationships. According to Laura, if you tune into the integrity of your own vision, your own desires, and your own creativity, you can achieve anything you want. Laura is a New York Times bestselling author of Practical Intuition and The Circle, How the Power of a Single Wish Can Change Your Life. She has appeared in Marie Claire, People, and Newsweek, among others, and on television, including CNN, The View, The Oprah Winfrey Show, Fox News, and Good Morning America. Welcome, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Laura, you've taught corporate executives, celebrities, doctors, scientists, and other professionals how to use their sixth sense in order to attain personal and professional goals. And people understand the word intuition to mean very different things, but there are verifiable uses of intuition. So when we're talking about practical intuition, what do we mean?
Well, intuition in itself is non-local attention, which means it's your ability not just to stay in your head and stay in what you know, but to allow your attention to wander outside of yourself, even to a future event, and to be able to accurately describe it. There's 60 years now of parapsychological research that shows that every human being has the capacity, but there is a protocol to do it. And most people, they just mix up the information they get with all of their other emotions, what's happening in their day. I mean, life is overwhelming. Even the simplest life is so full that these bits of really important data get lost.
So, Laura, is this a skill? I mean, this is something we all have, but I'm assuming we need to develop the ability to interpret these messages.
Not so much to interpret them, but you need to, first of all, know your questions. And it is a skill. It is an ability, but it's one that we're born with. We repress it as we get older because what we do in our educational system is we repress intuition, which has our attention go every which way, and we encourage a logical, defined thinking process. As adults, however, what I teach people to do is rediscover their intuition, not so much train it as uncover something that's already there and learn a methodology to be able to use it effectively in their lives. Because otherwise, a lot of people think of intuition and they think of, past lives and dead people and, all of these things. And the way I train intuition is slightly different than many people in that I really train intuition. So I train you to get information about the here and now, about what you need information for, and information directed toward your goals. But life is hard and life is full, and navigating it effectively does require intuition because there's so much information available. I mean, we're overwhelmed with information, but information can be wrong.
I think the reason that I use the word interpret is because I know for myself that sometimes I will get that feeling or that knowing, but sometimes I'm not sure if it's my intuition or my wishful thinking giving me the answer. So that's when I said interpret, because how do we figure out where the message is actually coming from?
Well, the first thing that's important to do is to really know what your questions are. So the problem with the word feeling is a bad feeling about a person or an event can simply be that your blood sugar is low and you need to have a donut. So to really, first of all, know what your goals or your questions are and write them down. The mind is a messy place, so it's really important to know what it is you are gathering information about and to write it down, to take it out of the messy brain, out of the full life, and onto a piece of paper or your technology device. And then to simply notice. So not to go, feeling is the least accurate intuitive skill, but to notice what comes up in the course of your day that's a bit from left field, and once again, to write it down, to write down your perceptions. And what happens once you really do it as a system is that you end up forming a kind of map for yourself. So if A happens and B happens, you can be pretty sure C will happen, as opposed to just blindly going with a feeling, which you're absolutely correct. Could be low blood sugar, could be that you had a bad dream last night, could be a lot of things that have nothing to do with your questions at hand. The exception to that rule is intuition automatically works very well in emergencies, which is why people like ER nurses and commodity traders are such natural intuitives, is that they don't have time to reason. They have to make the right decision quickly, and therefore they do, because all of our mechanisms are geared towards survival. But in the normal course of using your intuition to make correct decisions, there is a methodology that allows you to do so. Now, you never know, especially with prediction, if you're 100% accurate until the event occurs. However, you learn to create maps for yourself, so you can see, oh, gee, that was my blood sugar, and let me look more carefully at this piece of information.
So, Laura, from learning this skill and developing it, what can our intuition do in our life? How can it guide us?
Well, there are two things that developing intuition and awareness of your intuition, because you always have it, can do. First of all, you can learn to sort out your own perceptions from the perceptions of others. One of the things that I think is most difficult for people is to realize that they're already very intuitive on a moment-to-moment basis, and that a lot of what they're picking up in their environment isn't accurate information, but are the feelings and expectations of others. So it helps you clear your slate, so to speak, so that you can recognize the information. And it also helps you sort through the information that's available, intuitive and all the other kinds of information, to find the correct information. So in your life, for example, you're thinking of buying a piece of real estate. Everyone's predicting a market crash. Your gut tells you that the market isn't going to crash. So you begin to, first of all, formulate a goal. When is the best time for me to sell this piece of real estate? Or when is the best time for me to buy this piece of real estate? And you will begin to notice and document and record. Record is underline, 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 record, because memory is very faulty. Little pieces of information which will give you an accurate view instead of everybody else's view. And what you find over time is the more you use a skill, as with any skill, the more accurate it becomes. So as you learn to formulate a goal, document all the perceptions that come in, even the conflicting ones. It's very important. Discernment is counterintuitive, so it's very important to document all the little things that come in from left field, and then to review that information. The more that you do that, the more that your subconscious will allow your intuition to recognize information, the more that you will be able to rely on your information, because you'll see its accuracy and you'll notice what part is inaccurate. So what part is feeling, or what part is your tendency to take on the views of others and the glut of information that we all have, and what part is actually accurate data. And so you form your own barometer for data. And so the longer you do that and the more you document it, the more precise you become.
Okay, so Laura, you talk about an intuitive state. What is that?
I'm actually the naysayer of the intuitive state. We are always naturally intuitive. What we want to do is notice it. Now, most people, I find, train people to have to kind of go into this complicated process to get intuitive information, when in fact we're getting intuitive information all the time. We can't stop the intuitive information. It's just getting confused with everything else. So what I teach people to do is to identify what they want information about, and then in the course of their normal day, to be able to have a process, an internal process that they learn to integrate, where that intuitive information comes to the surface in a way that it can be recognized. And I do really recommend that people, write it down. I often like a sleep process, because during the day our minds are so occupied with so many things. Mm-hmm. So before you go to sleep, write down a single question that you want answered. And when you wake up, don't worry about remembering your dreams, don't worry about any of that stuff. When you wake up, just notice and write down, once again, document where your attention is. And sleep is such an interesting state, because your resources, your intuition, your intellect, everything gets to not respond to the environment, but gets to respond to a goal that you've set.
Lori,
so, yes.
Well, I was going to say, you were talking about questions, and you've been mentioning questions throughout the interview. And how do we know what the right question is? Is there a certain way that it needs to be worded or phrased, or is it the question that's right for our life? What does that actually mean?
What I mean by formulate your questions is, what is it you want to do better in your life? Do you want to grow your business? Do you want to find a wonderful partner? Do you want to find a resolution to a long-term health problem you're having? Do you want to find a more useful place in your community? Do you want to make better stock trades? Your question is your goal. What is it you want more information and more accurate information about? What do you want to do better in your life? And formulating the question is in a sense a process, because one of the things, I wrote a book called The Circle, and what it is it's a way to take a goal, decide on the single most important goal for this moment, and then take it through a process that engages intuition. And it's such an important thing to be able to just know. The starting point is, what do you want? And what people tend to use their intuition for initially is what they're afraid of. So, oh my goodness, let me make sure this doesn't happen. Let me make sure this won't occur in my relationship or in my business. Whereas when you make a positive goal, that's what you're getting information about. So the phrasing isn't so important as long as it's phrased toward what it is you want to achieve. So I always ask my students, what do you wake up feeling horrible that you don't have? What do you go to sleep worried about? Translate that into a positive goal, because then what happens is your attention begins to gather all the positive information to help you achieve that goal.
I've been discussing practical intuition with Laura Day. If you would like to learn more about this topic or about Laura's work, you can visit her website, laura-day.com. And Laura, also, our listeners can participate in something you've been referring to, your boot camp. Tell us a little bit about that.
Boot camp is a very intensive 2-day intuitive training, and it's for people who want to use intuition more in their lives, but also in their businesses.
Laura, actress Nicole Kidman said about you, Laura Day gives us strength to know ourselves and our own potential when clarity is most essential when we are in crisis. Her compassionate guidance should be required reading for anyone at one of life's major turning points. Laura's insights empower us to live each day with the power and courage to create our own lives instead of being created by circumstance. Laura Day gives us the key to ourselves. These are powerful words. So if you could sum it all up, How does everything we've been talking about help us to be proactive in life and empowered? What is the message?
The message is that you cannot always control what life gives you, but you have a lot of options about what to do with it. So right now, your life may be something that's very difficult and very tangled, but a moment from now can be you can create that dramatic change. You have the power to create change. And intuition helps you do that.
Laura, thank you so much for joining us today and for the wonderful reminder of just how much power we really do have within. And I just wish you much success with your work and your books, and it has been a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed the interview.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.